I heard. Oh, wow, that is quite... That's right, a very politically minded guy.
Years before he finally came up with an image, which is interesting in that when Napoleon first saw this, he said, it feels like you can step right into it. And that's exactly the intention that the artist had. He painted the crowd at the back of Notre Dame Cathedral. It was totally redecorated for the ceremony. So the only sculpture you'll recognize when you go inside is the Pietà. It's the marble sculpture on the far right side. That was there from the time of Louis XIV. The rest of it was redecorated. You have a crowd on the back side of the painting. Napoleon in the middle, holding the crown up I told you about, in the air. Josephine, seen from the side, kneeling before her husband with the two figures with her. Josephine has a long red train, and the ladies holding it up at the back. And the crowd breaks. So we can see, basically, is the intention. But what this means, if you want to imagine in modern times, is that we're the other half of the crowd. We're the other guys who just didn't make it into the painting. So actually, if you want to take pictures the way it should be seen in 3 dimensions, stand behind everybody and get the backs of all their heads. And then fix it as it would have been. Different clothing in Napoleon's time. When he crowned himself, he, as I mentioned, put the crown on his own head. He actually had to force the Pope, Pius VII, to come to France. The Pope didn't want to crown a usurper. He only crowned and recognized kings. So Napoleon forced him to come here. And when he arrived and did the ceremony, just at the point where you'd expect for the Pope, and that should have happened, to take the crown and set it on Napoleon's head, Napoleon snatched it himself. People think sometimes, oh, well, he was an egomaniac. So, of course, he was going to take and do this. That was actually that taking of the crown by Napoleon and his own self-coronation, a very political gesture. For all the time that we had French Christian kings, that goes all the way back to the year 496, when King Clovis declared himself as a Christian and converted to Christianity. All of the kings answered to the Pope. And what Napoleon was doing in taking the crown and putting it on his own head was showing the Pope that the Pope had just given him God's right to rule, but Napoleon was in control and he didn't answer to anyone. So he's thumbing his nose at the Pope. He then took, as he did in the second crown, and laid it. I don't know where he's going to put it. She has so many tiaras on her head, but he laid it somewhere on the head of his wife, Josephine. His family is in attendance, as is part of her family. If you look, the ladies in the same dress. On the far left side, there's all these ladies wearing a beautiful silver dress. On the left side of the crowd, those are his sisters, his stepdaughter, and members of their family, members of Josephine's and Napoleon's family. Then there's some men who are wearing the same outfit. Those are his brothers on the far left side. And Napoleon also had his mother painted into the painting. If you look just above him, in the middle of the painting, there's a very imperious-looking lady sitting on a throne that's got red behind it. Facing out. To the left, the big, tall gold cross. Now look above Napoleon, there's a tall gold cross, and to the left of the cross. That's his mother, Laetitia. She did not approve of the coronation ceremony, and she was not present at the ceremony. But he wanted to show that he had the support, symbolically, this is propaganda, remember, of all of his family. So he did the 19th century version of Photoshop. And he had the painter add her in. Yeah. So she wasn't even there. However, the painter was. I mentioned that Jacques-Louis David sat and sketched people. He sat there with his wife, and he had sons as well, but he brought his 2 twin daughters, and you can see him. He painted himself into the crowd. If you look at Laetitia, the mother of Napoleon on her throne, there's another row of people just above her. As you there's kind of a reflection at this angle, but as you walk past in this direction, take a look and you'll see that there's a lady, you can kind of see her from here, she has a hat on the left side. That's his wife. She has the twin daughters. on either side of her, and behind her, almost as if he's resting his sketch pad on his wife's head, is David the artist scribbling away. So this is one of the most famous paintings. Like I mentioned, it's the second largest of the paintings in the Louvre. We'll see that in the next room.
How does it fit on the wall?